Hey guys, welcome back to the channel McNallie Money, home of all things stock, investment, and personal finance related. Now for today's video, we've got a super exciting one for you. We're going to be discussing a brand new penny stock to the channel. This is one I've heard discussed a lot in the YouTube community, so I'm excited to get in there and do a deep dive analysis for myself. The company name is TAAT Global Alternatives, and they're really providing a solution for people that are looking for a tobacco or nicotine-free smoking experience. Now with that being said, before we get into the presentation, you guys, please take a second, hit the like button. It's a huge help to both myself and the channel. If you're not already subscribed, McNallie Money, feel free to do so. And let me know in the comment section below if you've heard of TAAT before, if you're currently holding shares, and how you think they stack up to some of the other competitors in this space. Now with that being said, let's get into today's video. Okay guys, so that's right. Today's video, we're going to be covering a company by the name of TAAT Global Alternatives. Now this is a stock I've heard a lot of YouTubers talking about. I really was excited to get my hands in here. I've had a couple of viewers request for me to take a look at this company, and I think it may be a perfect buying opportunity based on some of this market volatility that we're seeing really across the board. So you can see here, they trade under the ticker symbol TOBAF on the OTC in the United States. They pulled back about 6%. This is as of close on January 24th to close out the session at $1.43 US. And if we pull up a 6-month chart on TAAT Global, you can see they have been downtrending over the last couple of months, really from a high in late August, so middle of summer last year, of just under $4 US. Now on the Canadian side of things, they trade under the ticker symbol TAAT, so exactly the same as the company name is spelled. And in addition to all of the social media buzz I've heard about this company, there really have been a lot of major developments that I also wanted to touch on in today's presentation. So they've seen rapid revenue growth over the last couple of quarters. They're running a number of innovative ad campaigns using influencers and social media marketing, and they're now present in over 2,000 stores in the United States alone. So they're really building out their distribution. Obviously, that's going to have a big impact on top line revenue, and I think people are really starting to become aware of this product and the alternative that it provides to traditional cigarettes or smoking. So as mentioned in the intro, and for those of you who maybe aren't super familiar with TAAT Global, they really are pursuing a nicotine and tobacco-free smoking experience. So they're not asking smokers to really change up their lifestyle or their habits or the way they consume these type of products, but they're really looking to create an alternative that looks, feels, tastes, and really gives the same overall experience that people get from smoking traditional cigarettes. So we are bringing TAAT, which is their trademark branded product, a nicotine-free and tobacco-free smoking experience to the global tobacco industry or market, which they estimate to be in excess of $800 billion. So when we talk about total addressable market here, you guys, we're looking at almost $1 trillion opportunity here. If TAAT Global is able to shave off even a small percentage of that, they're looking at a massive addressable market and an absolutely massive audience for this product. Now the leadership team here at TAAT, which we're going to talk about later in the presentation, really brings the same outlook and focus that you would find in big tobacco, so that same type of pedigree. The product was first launched back in Q4 of 2020 in the United States in the state of Ohio, and they're really targeting legal age smokers who are looking for an alternative to traditional cigarettes. And just like traditional cigarettes, TAAT is offered in a number of different varieties, including original, smooth, and menthol. So smokers can really get that exact same experience they're used to with their traditional cigarette type of product. Now in terms of video format here, we're going to jump into a press release that talks about TAAT Global and really lays out a very bullish forecast for this company moving forward. I'll actually leave a link to that article or landing page in the video description below if you want to take a look for yourself and do a little additional research. From there, we're going to really build on some of the points that they highlight in that article. We're going to move into the investor presentation and do a deep dive into TAAT Global's business model and talk about why I think this company could be set up for an extreme amount of growth over the next couple of years. So with that being said, we're going to jump over to the article right now, and it's titled, "It's Official, Millions Upon Millions Are Opting Out of Traditional Smokes." And the opportunity in front of TAAT Global to take a chunk out of this absolutely massive global tobacco market. So again, you can see the two ticker symbols here, CSE on the Canadian side of things, TAAT on the OTC, again trading under TOBAF. And with that being said, now we'll scroll down and get into the article. So they really lay out a very bullish thesis for this company in the article, and I wanted to talk about some of the highlights before we move into the investor presentation. So first and foremost, you guys, this is probably the biggest benefit to the TAAT product overall is there's zero nicotine. So about 1.1 billion people worldwide are addicted to nicotine in some form or fashion. So whether that's cigarettes, cigars, chewing tobacco, or various different alternatives, a huge portion of the global population are actually dependent or reliant on this substance. TAAT replaces that nicotine with CBD to actually mimic the chill factor or the relaxed feeling you get from consuming a cigarette, but without the addictive component or the addiction factor. Now the second pillar here is really focused around zero hassle, so there's no need for smokers to break their familiar routines. A lot of smokers will actually say it's the physical act of smoking, of picking their hand up, of going out to the garage, whatever the case is, so they can keep those routines. TAAT cigarettes look the same, they work the same, they smoke the same, and they're even stated here to taste the same, if not better. So all of those habits or routines or rituals that smokers have can remain intact. And the third point is centered around freedom or 100% freedom. Smokers now finally have the choice to leave nicotine behind while keeping the pleasing experience they love down to the smallest details. So you really now can have the best of both worlds, you guys. You don't need to wear the patches. You don't need to try and hide smoking from your family or your spouse. You can now do both, feel happy about it, and you're not going to be reliant or dependent on that nicotine. Now on the company website, we talked about the TAAT brand as a tobacco-free, nicotine-free alternative to traditional cigarettes. We mentioned that they were offered in a variety of different formats, so original, smooth, and menthol. But I also wanted to mention here, you guys, this is a proprietary blend which undergoes patent-pending refinement techniques, causing the scent and taste to resemble tobacco. So this really is a proprietary technology. It's not just any company that can come in and create tobacco or cigarette alternatives. And I think that really does create a moat around TAAT Global, which is exactly what you want to see as a prospective investor in any of these type of companies. Now, if we jump back over to the left, we can see the article lays out 5 smoking hot reasons to consider TAAT Global. So based on those 3 pillars we just mentioned up top, these are really the main selling points that support the bullish thesis on TAAT Global. The first point here is really about the overwhelming size of the addressable market. So according to this article, the global tobacco industry is worth about $932 billion and appears to be extremely susceptible to significant change. So a lot of people who smoke don't want to smoke. They're looking for alternatives. They're looking for new formats to consume these type of products. So it's really ripe for the picking here, you guys. And whether you're looking at the 932 billion or the 814 billion that was laid out on the TAAT Global website, the market or the total market opportunity here really is quite tremendous, and there's not a lot of industries where you see disposable products like cigarettes that people buy day after day that amass to this type of total market opportunity. Now the second point is really about TAAT emulating that exact same smoking experience. So TAAT has created the perfect off-ramp for nicotine addiction with a cigarette alternative that for all intensive purposes here, you guys, provides the exact same overall experience as smoking, but without the nicotine. The third point really talks about some of the other alternatives we've seen in the market. So alternate gadgets such as vaping and heated tobacco are really starting to come against some resistance now from government intervention. A lot of legal aspects or components here as well, you guys, with these products being marketed to kids and the emerging health impacts of these various or derivative type of products. Not to mention, they really do require smokers to change a lot about the habit itself, the look, the feel of the product that they're consuming, and a lot of people just really simply don't want that amount of change. The fourth point, so TAAT's 2021 revenue, and we're actually going to look at some quarter-over-quarter revenue growth later in the investor presentation, are showing tremendous growth, you guys. Revenue and gross profits grew by over 600%, and the company is really just getting started with a lot of these big ad campaigns and distribution agreements that we talked about in the intro. And the final point here really has to do with leadership. So the CEO of this company, I've watched a number of his interviews on YouTube, so I would highly recommend you guys go take a look and listen for yourself. The CEO, Seti Coscarella, brings major tobacco experience with him. He was the lead strategist for a division called Reduced Risk Products at Philip Morris International, so one of the biggest international cigarette or tobacco companies in the entire world. And Seti Coscarella has really assembled quite an impressive team of people around him to help support the growth goals that they have at TAAT Global. And again, more to come on Seti Coscarella and the leadership team in a couple of minutes here. Now, I thought this was interesting to point out. In this article, they call out some recent news from TAAT Global, which really talks about the percentage of sales that is flowing through their wholesale channel right now. So I wanted to quickly pull this article up because this is one that I actually read during my research on this company. And if you take a look here, you guys, you can see wholesale reorders now account for 48% of TAAT's sales volume within the first quarter of 2021. So I think that really is a testament to this company because people or companies are now repeat purchasing this product, which means customers are coming back and asking to repurchase this product from their local distribution points. And again, here you can see after launching in the state of Ohio in December 2020, the company has grown its store count to more than 2,000 stores in the United States alone. And they're now beginning their first store placements in the United Kingdom as well, which was announced in December of 2021. So again, you need to be 21 plus or smoking age to purchase these products. And the company goes on to say it's pleased to announce in Q1 of 2022, nearly half of its US sales volume was derived from repeat wholesale orders. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention in this article is just the ad campaigns that the company has been running, and I think that really is starting to drive this revenue growth that we're seeing at TAAT Global. So throughout 2021, TAAT carried out several campaigns to attract the interest of smokers. Again, 21 and over, you guys. They're not targeting kids whatsoever, like we've seen with a lot of the vaping type of products in the United States, with the objective of prompting them to try TAAT as a nicotine-free and tobacco-free alternative to traditional tobacco cigarettes. So TAAT really focused on the out-of-home video advertising experience. They targeted just about 10,500 gas pump displays in Ohio. So where people are actually filling up their car, they're going to be going into the convenience store and purchasing their cigarettes. So very tactical product placement here, you guys. And sponsored the entourage of heavyweight champion boxer Floyd Mayweather during his June 6, 2021 fight against Logan Paul. So if you've been following YouTube, you guys, you know Logan and Jake Paul are some of the biggest YouTubers in the media right now. So I think this was a very smart move by TAAT Global to really align their brand with some of these super successful, super popular people that are currently in the media light or the limelight. Now, in addition to that, TAAT also was featured on a number of billboard advertisements. They went to a number of trade shows, and they sent out what's called their TAAT 2s, which are 2 individually packaged cigarettes for people to actually try in order to prompt them or entice them to actually go out and purchase a full 20-stick pack for themselves. So I thought that was important to throw in here, you guys, because it really does speak to their advertising strategy and their distribution strategy, both of which, in my opinion, really seem to have gained some traction and were really positively received by their target audience. Now, this next section here has a couple of really interesting stats, you guys, so I wanted to spend a second here as well. So each and every day, nearly 1 billion people around the world actually light up a cigarette. So based on the global population, which is just under 8 billion people, that represents a huge portion of the adult population that are actually avid cigarette or tobacco users. Now, over the years, smoking has received a ton of bad press really in relation to the multitude of health-related issues that it causes. So it was no surprise to me that the percentage of people who are actually smoking now has declined. But what was interesting was the overall number of smokers has actually increased. So the percentage of people has gone down, but because the population within the world has gone up so rapidly, there's actually more smokers now than there have ever been. So when you start to think about total addressable market, you guys, the numbers really do speak for themselves. And that's why I think it's so important that TAAT Global's strategy really isn't to rock the boat here, you guys, or make these users of nicotine change their habit in any way. Again, it looks like a cigarette, it burns with that cigarette crackling sound, it smells like a cigarette, tastes like tobacco, you hold it the exact same way, it comes in the same type of packages. So people really, for all intents and purposes, feel like they're consuming the exact same product without a lot of those negative health implications. And TAAT Global really is the first company or first player to really try and disrupt this massive tobacco industry in this fashion. So yes, there's a lot of people that have invested in vape type of companies or in e-cigarettes or things like that, but those really do fundamentally change the smoking process, whereas TAAT Global is looking to mirror or emulate that process to a T. And that's exactly what they go in to say here. TAAT is not forcing smokers to use weird, unfamiliar, often expensive gadgets. Instead, they're delivering the exact same experience, and this is key here, you guys, at a lower price than traditional, heavily taxed cigarettes. So depending on the state in which you reside, cigarette packages can really vary in price from about $5 on the low end to over $10 in the state of New York. The average across the nation in the US is about $6.28 per pack, which equates to about $2,300 per year for traditional or average smokers. So over a 20-year smoking lifespan, you guys, that's $200,000 which smokers are spending on cigarettes. Not to mention all of the additional health-related costs from tobacco-related illnesses. And if you actually factor in those medical-related costs, on average, you're looking at an investment from each and every smoker of about $1.4 million due to those health-related costs, pack costs, and lost opportunity costs. So with all of that being said, TAAT cigarette alternatives are actually 50% cheaper on average per pack than traditional nicotine cigarettes. So you've got all the health benefits, plus you've got all the financial benefits without having to go and change anything about the habit in which smokers are so familiar with. And honestly, I think that's exactly why we're starting to see such rapid revenue growth for TAAT Global. So if you look at the last 3 quarters of operation here, this is all from 2021 here, you guys. So Q1, you can see revenue, cost of goods sold, and gross profit laid out in the 3 shades of blue here. Revenue came in at about $166,000. This is in Canadian dollars here, you guys. Q2, we saw that increase to about $700,000 of top line revenue. Cost of goods sold was about half that, so gross profit came in at $363,000. And in Q3, we saw nearly 700% growth in top line revenue. It came in just over $1.3 million Canadian, with gross profit coming in at $781,000, which was up again 682% compared to Q1 of the same fiscal year, or 2021. And if you really think about some of the companies that have tried to enter industries like this, so Beyond Meat comes to mind as a plant-based alternative to the traditional meat industry, they really only need to capture a small percentage of the overall market cap to really make impressive returns for investors. And that's exactly what you can see here when you start to look at some comparable public companies in the nicotine or cigarette space. So you can see Philip Morris, British American Tobacco, you guys. These companies have market caps in the range of $84 to $160 billion. And if you look at the market cap of TAAT Global, which is shown here as 377 million US, now keep in mind this is as of June 30th, so we've seen a significant pullback in share price. The market cap is now probably sitting in the range of about half of that. You really do start to see the opportunity that's laid out in front of TAAT Global to take market share away from some of these mega cap players in the traditional nicotine or cigarette industry. And if you think about it, even if TAAT is able to carve out 5% of this $932 billion market opportunity, that would represent $46 billion. So even if they're able to carve off just a fraction of the overall market here, it represents an absolutely massive opportunity considering the size of TAAT Global based on their current share price. And it's really these disruptive type of companies that lead to massive shareholder returns. So if you think about companies like Netflix, for example, it really disrupted the traditional video industry or TV industry. If you put in $1,000 at their IPO, that would now be worth in excess of $40,000. Another big one is Amazon, which really turned the retail game on its head. So again, if you invested at IPO of $18, that would now be worth $400,000. Tesla flipped the automotive game on its head. If you invested in their IPO at $17, you'd now have $145,000. Again, these figures will change or shift around based on the current share price, you guys, but you get the point here. If you find one of these companies that's attacking an absolute massive industry, you get in early, you really do have the potential to make a ton of money, regardless of what the industry is. If they've got a great product and they're disrupting the legacy players in that space, the opportunity is there to make a tremendous return. And the final point on this article before we move into the investor presentation is really in relation to the leadership team. So again, the CEO here, Seti Coscarella, has experience in a number of different industries ranging from banking, private equity, all the way to entrepreneurship. Seti moved to the world of tobacco at Philip Morris, as we just talked about, in 2017, where he was the lead strategist for reduced risk products. Now, while at Philip Morris, Seti actually interviewed and worked with thousands of individual smokers to better understand how to position smoking alternatives and how to develop programs that could help smokers discover and successfully convert to smoking alternative type of products. So he's got a ton of tactical or hands-on experience with actual smokers looking to make a change. In addition to all that practical experience, he's got an MBA with specializations in finance, marketing, and corporate strategy, all of which perfectly apply themselves to this current role, and a Bachelor of Science from the University of Toronto in mathematics and physics. So a very well-educated guy with a ton of hands-on experience in the tobacco industry, along with a number of other industries in which he can pull his experience from to help at TAAT Global. So if we now jump over to the TAAT Global investor presentation, there's a number of slides in here in which I thought really added to today's video. So this one again talks about the addressable market. This has really been a common theme in today's video because I think this is one of the biggest bullish cases for this company, you guys, is just the sheer size of the market that they're going after. So we've talked a lot about the global market being in the neighborhood of about $800 to $900 billion US. If we look just at the United States alone, the market opportunity here represents about $75 billion per year. They hold about 3% of the global smokers. And if you start to do the math here, if TAAT Global is able to sell one pack per day per cigarette retailer in the United States, you'd be looking at about $1.5 to $2 million of daily revenue. And if they're able to convert 200,000 smokers within the United States to their TAAT alternative product, you're looking at annual revenue in the neighborhood of about $200 million. So again, keep in mind, you guys, this company has a market cap in the neighborhood of about $180 million. So the numbers really are quite impressive and start to add up in a major way very quickly. Now, the other couple data points I wanted to bring up here really have to do with budget brands and the fact that they're starting to gain market share. So I think a lot of smokers now have seen the price of their traditional brand continue to increase. They don't want to pay those prices anymore. So smokers are now starting to change their purchasing patterns. And if you look at the premium brands down here in the dark blue, you can actually see that over the last few years, you guys, the amount of premium cigarettes that are being sold has actually declined quite drastically. So when you think about the fact that TAAT cigarettes or TAAT products are about 50% of the price of traditional smokes, you really start to see an opportunity here for the company. The other thing to consider is based on the stats here, you guys, I'm not making any assumptions. Households that earn less income generally have higher propensity to smoke. So obviously if you have less income, less disposable income, you're going to be more cost conscious about where you're spending that money. And if you have low cost alternatives like TAAT products, that definitely could be a viable solution. And the other thing I thought was interesting here, when you really compare to the e-cigarette market, E-cigarettes are really capturing an audience that aren't traditional smokers. So if you look at the type of people who consume e-cigarettes, about a quarter or 24% of these individuals never smoked cigarettes prior. About 37% currently smoke cigarettes in addition to e-cigarette, and about 40% were former smokers. So yes, they are converting some former smokers over to these products, but a large portion of the people using e-cigarettes aren't traditional smokers. They never were. They probably were never going to be. And they're really not competing in the same category or against the same type of consumers as TAAT products. And I think the fact that TAAT cigarettes so closely emulate real cigarettes really is the key to success here, or the differentiator from some of those e-cigarette type of alternatives. So I wanted to spend a couple of seconds here on the actual engineering and production process. So as you can see, this is an innovative patent pending process. Base hemp materials go through a 14-step proprietary process to taste and smell like tobacco, including a patent pending refinement technique. And that's exactly what you see on this slide here, which talks about the manufacturing and distribution platforms. So TAAT's production facility is located in Las Vegas. That's where they actually convert the hemp biomass into the TAAT flavored smoking material. So this is currently a 25,000 square foot facility, their primary manufacturing facility. The secondary manufacturing leverages world-class contract manufacturing and packaging of cigarettes from TAAT materials at a per unit price. So they actually pay third-party companies to package these into individual cigarettes. They ship the product pallets directly to the wholesalers, and they've got high levels of scalability because this is an outsourced production process. So as demand for TAAT products goes up, they simply hire more third-party packaging partners, and they continue to ship these products directly to the wholesalers. Now, in terms of distribution, we touched on this. They're really focused on traditional distribution channels where you would find existing tobacco type of products, so state-specific and region-specific distributors. And because of this, there's a lot of synergies there, so there's no need for businesses to hire new sales teams, new accountants, or really change anything that they're doing currently in terms of distribution. This is just simply a new SKU to add to the cigarette cabinet within your local retailer or gas station. And we couldn't go through this presentation without talking about their Crossmark partnership. So TAAT products are now being represented by Crossmark Inc. This is a large Texas-based sales agency that holds relationships with more than 100,000 convenience stores, both on a regional and national distribution chain level. In addition, they've got connections with wholesalers and distributors. And through their extensive promotional, trade marketing, and analytics support network here, you guys, this is what's enabling TAAT to actually get into stores, merchandise their product, and really driving those reorders or repeat purchases that we're starting to see. So I think this is a massive partnership for TAAT Global, and I think this is really going to propel them in terms of their distribution footprint in a major way in coming quarters. So again, they can leverage all of Crossmark's existing capabilities to really expand their product reach, and those are laid out in the bottom right here if you jump into the investor presentation and you want to take a closer look. Now, outside of traditional distribution or gas stations or retail, they've also got an e-commerce strategy. So TAAT cigarettes are also sold on the web as of February 17th, 2021. So the information here is a little bit outdated. They actually sold $150,000 Canadian worth of product just in the first few days alone. Nearly 6,000 new users visited their online store in the first 48 hours, which equated or generated about 37,000 page views. And you can see the different product formats here, whether it's cartons or individual packages, and those competitive prices compared to traditional cigarettes. And the final point I wanted to bring up is just around some of their branding and marketing. So you can see a variety of their different campaigns or looks on this slide here, and some additional creative campaigns as you continue to move through the investor presentation. So for those reasons, you guys, I definitely think TAAT Global deserves a look, especially if you're looking for exposure into this space. I know a lot of investors really are gun shy when it comes to investing in companies like this. So say cannabis, for example, cigarettes, tobacco, alcohol. But I think TAAT really does provide a healthy alternative for people who are looking to break the nicotine cycle. Its product is innovative, it's patent pending, you guys, and I think this really will lead to a lot of health benefits down the road if they're able to drive distribution and adoption of this product. So for those reasons and all the other ones we talked about in today's presentation, I would definitely encourage you to take a look at TAAT Global Alternatives, throw this one on your watch list, and it might be a really nice way to diversify or balance out your portfolio. Now, with that being said, if you want additional information, I'll leave a link to the company website below, along with the article we covered in today's presentation. Now, before I let you go, you guys, if you're still watching at this point, make sure you hit the like button. It's a huge help to myself and the channel. If you're not already subscribed, McNallie Money, feel free to do so. And I'd be really curious to hear your thoughts on this product, on TAAT Global Alternatives, in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of this company. Let me know if you think it is a viable alternative to traditional smoking or nicotine-based products, if you've ever heard of this company before, and specifically if you've ever tried these products and how they compare to traditional cigarettes. Now, with that being said, that's all for now. Thanks so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.